it has also been a grueling time for soccer players on the U.S. women's national team. And that is because they sued their employer, the U.S. Soccer Federation, back in 2019, fighting for equal pay and better working conditions. I actually got a chance to sit down with two of the players, Ashlyn Harris and Allie Krieger, shortly after the players took legal action. This is how they explained what they want.
What I want to make very clear is it's not that we want more money. We deserve more money. I think that is the massive component here is we are putting in the same time, we are putting in the same work, we are sacrificing the same things as men, and we are bringing in the numbers. So it's not a matter of us kicking and screaming because we think we want all these millions of dollars and we want. No, we deserve it at the end of the day, and we produce results.
And this week, we got a partial resolution to the players' grievances. Let's bring in Bloomberg legal editor Peter Blumberg to tell us what the next step looks like. So, Peter, before we get to the next step, walk us through exactly what happened in the legal battle, because there was a settlement on one of the claims, and the second part of the claim was rejected. So walk us through what was decided.
The part of the case that's now been settled involves working conditions, including travel, accommodations, venues, and professional staffing. Under the terms that were agreed to, the women players will have charter flights to travel to matches comparable to the men. They'll stay at similar hotels. They'll get to play on grass fields. They've been complaining for years about playing on artificial turf. And the women's team will have a complement of approximately 18 to 20 professional staffers to provide medical and other support.
Okay, so they're going to appeal the part about equal pay. Is the bar higher in an appeal?
Well, the claims over pay discrimination will now go to a 3-judge panel on a federal appeals court, which will review the factual and legal issues that were before the Los Angeles judge who dismissed the claims. And the appeals court will decide whether to uphold or overturn the judge's findings. It'll probably take the better part of a year before the appeals panel even holds arguments on the case, and then at least several more months for it to make a decision. If the panel rules in favor of the women, that doesn't mean that the case is over. It just means that the women will get an opportunity to present their evidence and arguments at a trial.
Okay, so this sounds like this legal battle will continue for a while. It's not going to be resolved anytime soon. You talked about the facts. One of the facts is that the women had agreed to a certain salary because of collective bargaining agreements, and that's why the judge pushed back on that claim for equal pay. How important is that in the push for more equal pay? I mean, can they just ask the judge to dismiss what's already been signed to, what's already been agreed to in that collective bargaining agreement?
Well, the Los Angeles judge who ruled against the women on their unequal pay claims found that any pay discrepancy was due to differences that they negotiated in their collective bargaining agreements. The judge rejected the women's position that they ended up getting paid more than the men only because they played more games and were more successful than the men's team. The big difference is the pay structure for the men's and women's teams. The men's contract is a pay-for-play arrangement where players are compensated for each game they're called on to play for the national team, whereas the women receive an annual salary whether they are called on to play on the national team or not.
Okay, so they could play 5 games or they could play 50 games. One thing that I was wondering about, Peter, this lawsuit dates back to 2019. 2019 feels like a lifetime ago. The world was different. The economy was different back then. How much public empathy is there for athletes seeking more pay when so many people have lost jobs and don't have any pay at the moment? Does that matter?
Well, in a legal proceeding, public empathy is not a consideration. The judges are bound to look at the law and the evidence, and so they are going to be focused on how to interpret the arguments in light of the collective bargaining agreements and the claims over illegal discrimination.
Yeah. But in the court of public opinion, it's a different story. All right, we'll keep an eye out for when the players file their appeal. Thank you so much for the insight. Peter Blumberg, Bloomberg legal editor.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.